about the reorganization of tags and layers. This is kind of working actually, which is surprising. But anyway, so the search, the layers, tags and layers button has been replaced with search, and search has this box here that has a tags tab and a views tab, and layers have been renamed to views. So these are separate, and tags, as it says in this description, pertain to data and the timeline and the symbols, and that's it. And then views just rearrange people and let you draw on the diagram, as it says here. So I have this little daily log that I've been tracking for myself, and this is not a really super accurate data set or filled out data set, but at least it's got some stuff for a demo. So I've got basically just a bunch of shifts, R symbols, relationship symbols, added here, plus one event. That's not as important that there's an event in there. I am tracking a variable anxiety with it, but so what I've done here, so tags are the only thing you have to filter now with this, besides the usual search criteria like description, dates, and all that kind of stuff. But right now I've added two tags for this. So in search, I've got I click tags, and I've got primary triangle, which is just the ones between me and my biological parents, and then shifts. And actually, this is meant to be basic pattern, even though I think all I have is for the primary triangle. So here's this idea of splitting up basic pattern versus like data for the basic pattern. And the basic pattern is a hypothesis, but so shifts would be the data that would support it or relate to it or something. So anyway, you see at the bottom here, if I don't have anything picked, then everything's in here. I got the basic pattern as purple and the shifts as red. So if I click basic pattern, all the dates go away on the bottom because by definition, I don't really have, that's the baseline. I don't have dates for that. And then if I go up in here, there's nothing in the timeline because I've filtered it out. I should probably put an indicator there that says change your search criteria or something to see something. But anyway, so if I change this over to shifts, then the dates that I do have show up on the bottom, and then you get the first one here. So, or here's the first one. So this is defined self with me and my dad, and then I move forward, and I've got this towards symbol, which I need you to change the look for, and anxiety, and another toward with a compensatory away, and then another toward between me and my dad, and then an away from me and my stepmom. So anyway, just point being that now there's dates and there's something you can cycle through. And then shifting back to the basic pattern, you've got that there. And then if you take them off, if you disable them both, you see everything, and then you see the shifts move around the basic pattern. I mean, so that's, some of that is just me choosing to use it this way to show basic pattern and shifts, but it does make it possible. And then views is separate. It's just a whole separate dimension and a different axis. It operates independently of the tags. So here I have my primary triangle as one. And then all of the tags will still work just as they did before, but you're only going to see the ones that pertain to this view. So if you want to isolate the triangle, let's just do shifts here on the tags. Just see the shifts in the variables and symbols that occurred in the primary triangle, then you get that. And then you should, hopefully this still works, you should be able to rearrange and then switch back to the main view and no, it's broken. Oh, that's right. I have to actually tell it to do that. So that's in store geometry. So now I can rearrange these however I want and then jump back to this one, and now it'll remember between the two. There we go. So a view really lets you rearrange and change the way things look, and then you can do this sort of thing. Something about mom, and that these things are tied to the view. Like that. So tags operate independently of the view. Go back to basic pattern. So now I'm looking at the tag, or the basic pattern, with this view. Anyway, so that's how that works. It's all now under this search panel, just one search panel for the whole app, whether you're in the graphical timeline or even the personal. There's no more search in here in the personal timeline. There's no hourglass here in the personal timeline. It's under this hourglass, and that's it. Because I found I needed to, just watching people, I need to simplify everything so there's just one entry point into each of the features, and it's too much power is too difficult for people to grasp, I think. Another little change here is that when the toward, so if I go into this toward, that's this one here. The start date and end date are the same, and that makes it so that in the timeline there's just one entry instead of always having a duplicate, and it just says toward. And then when you have like this away, let's see, this away here, that says away began because there's no end date set because they're different. So it just differentiates on the timeline for you. So that just should clean this up a little bit, and it makes it possible to have just discrete shifts that are momentary, is the right word for that, in engineering anyway. And then, I haven't finished this part yet, but I've got this so that the time is in here. I've added times. That was, funny enough, the biggest, that required ripping out half the code, or not ripping out, but the most change in the code. But when you have this collapsed, you can see the date only, just to keep it simple. You can still edit that the same way as before. But when you expand it, you'll also be able to set the time, which means that you can do a within 5-minute vignette of shifts. And then the timeline on the bottom will adapt to the time granularity instead of the date. So the minute granularity really is what it's probably going to be. So those are big changes. They're real big changes that have to do with tracking emotional process more closely using really the toward and away system, if not the other R systems, but I'm thinking more about toward and away, and then how that relates to the use of the mechanisms, for example. But I am going to try to keep doing this daily log thing once I get these features in here, because I think that's just, man, putting the effort in to think about what I would track, whether it's over a few minutes or whether it's over from day to day or week to week, really, and writing out the basis for the shift for the R symbol. That really gets me. I think it's pushing me towards having some kind of a defined set way to do this. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I should stop, but that's what's coming in 1.3.0, which is a minor version change. The name minor doesn't do it justice. That's a big change. A major change is a complete conceptual rewrite of everything. So a minor change means fundamental concepts are changing, actually, in the minor version. Yeah, and I'm just curious what you think about that. Thanks.